See, I think being authentic is really the most important thing. There are obviously some number of students who are able to portray a false sense of who they are. If you genuinely don't fit into SPJIMR, but you're looking at it simply as saying, "Arey, 33 lakhs ka LPA milega, and therefore I want to go there," you're wasting your time, you're wasting our time.
I've done a video 4 years back, in which I've said openly, this college will compete with IIM Indore. Tough question. SPJIN versus IIM Indore. Sometimes you know your stuff, and just in trying to be different, you try to become totally different and you get rejected. Yeah?
See, I think being authentic is really the most important thing. I'm teaching currently a senior leadership program that's having people build individual leadership plans. So think of this as 40 to 45-year-olds who already have a PGDM from an SPJIMR or an IIM, who are doing well in their lives. And when they come back for a senior leadership program, the bar is obviously higher for them than it is for a regular PGDM's, class.
Yeah.
So the point is, what is it that you can help these folks with by way of becoming better leaders? And we always start off with the notion of sort of saying, who are you authentically? What is your authentic self? Because honestly, your authentic self probably has great strengths that maybe you're not even aware of.
Yeah.
So all of you who are, applying at SPJIMR, please think about it. The reason you're even in the game is because of, in this case, who you are or who they are. Don't shy away from it. Play it up, lean into it, as Sheryl Sandberg would say. Not my favorite quote, but it's a good quote, I think. Lean into who you are and build on your authentic self. There is no point trying to pretend to be somebody else.
Authentic ही बुरा है सर मेरा तो.
फिर मत आओ यार. अगर इतना खराब है कि कुछ नहीं बोल सकते हो, आपका टाइम क्यों वेस्ट कर रहे हो, हमारा टाइम क्यों वेस्ट कर रहे हो?
मैं इनको बोलता रहता हूँ, बी ऑथेंटिक, सर कहते हैं सर ऑथेंटिक पता लग गया ना हमारा कि कितने लेजी हैं हम, एंड वो वीकनेस में जो जेन्युइन वाला वीकनेस
नहीं, बट एक्चुअली मैं सीरियसली बताता हूँ, देयर आर ऑब्वियसली सम नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स हु आर एबल टू पोर्ट्रे ए false sense of who they are. This is the hacks part, which is why I don't like it. If you genuinely don't fit into SPJIMR, but you're looking at it simply as saying, "Arey, 33 lakhs ka LPA milega, and therefore I want to go there," you're wasting your time, you're wasting our time. आप जैसे students हमें नहीं चाहिए, right? You may be a smart person, but if you don't fit into what it is SPJIMR is about, then, there are other great institutions that might be a better fit for you. I would hope that I'm only speaking to 2% of the audience that was going to be very good at faking it, right?
Okay.
But if you're planning to fake it till you make it, we might be the wrong place for you.
Sir, what makes SPJIMR unique? I've done a video 4 years back, in which I've said openly, this college will compete with IIM Indore. By the way, we're sitting inside IFT right now and talking about SPJIMR.
ठीक है ना?
But क्या है sir? What's the so unique part of it?
See, you can choose to compete straight up, or you can choose to figure out a few things on which you're different and lean into it or play up that particular differentiator. We have chosen the latter approach. Most people will tell you, not just at the applicant level, but also in industry, that the SPJIMR graduate seems to be a little bit different than the other kind of graduate. आप कोई देखिए ना, जरा अलग हैं आप, right?
पता नहीं फिर से
in a good way or a bad way, but so let's assume कि good way पे हैं आप. So what is it that makes an SPJIMR participant different? One would probably be a selection process where we, bring in the people that we think we can take from 90 to 95 or 90 to 98, right? But वो 90 to 98 में क्या कर रहे हैं? We're trying to get people to be authentic, appreciate who they are, understand their strengths, understand the areas they can improve, and work on it. We're looking for great team players. One thing you will always hear about SPJIMR is the ability of, you're competitive, but it's in a totally collegial and supportive manner. These are teammates pushing each other to be better, as opposed to teammates competing against each other. So that non-competitive culture, and I mean that in a good way, that SPJIMR has, I think, is a good, positive, educational, nurturing environment. And at SPJIMR, I'm not expecting a 25-year-old or 28-year-old to suddenly think about the world first and themselves second. Think of yourself first. But coming a close second ought to be things besides yourself. And SPJIMR, maybe try our best, through a combination of things that you have heard about, like our Abhyuday program or DOCC, and various other approaches to have you think beyond yourself.
And sir, trust me, when I was a student, Abhyuday is very close to sir's heart, for obvious reasons. And my heart also, sir.
All right.
And DOCC is also, मुझे लग रहा था क्या NGO में काम करवा रहे हो. And मेरे जैसा आदमी has got a full-fledged not-for-profit organization running.
Right.
I keep it very low-key, but we work with deaf people. It's called Sounds of Silence Foundation, which was my project of DOCC.
Yes, I remember you told me that. Correct.
It was like, we were discussing
For
in the-
hearing, yes, right,
for the
right, the hearing impaired.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And that was SPJIMR. जब तुम अंदर पढ़ रहे होते हो ना तुम्हें लगता है क्या बस करो यार तुम क्या एड मैप चल रहा है एक क्लास वहाँ चल रही है एक क्रेडिट चल रहे हैं उनका. Past couple of years we've killed some SPJIMR culture of the first few days of induction for all good reasons or bad reasons. And I was a part of the induction as well, which is we're not going to tell everything. But वो सर induction में बहुत मज़ा आता था. ठीक है एक सीनियर जूनियर रिलेशनशिप बनता था. In your IIT days induction used to be longer, and my NIT's days it was like very long and hard as well. So there was a time when senior juniors meet up. I know it's a sensitive topic about induction, but I think that was required. But that culture kill हो गया है sir.
मैं बताता हूँ as to why. I'll partially agree with you, but I'll tell you why we have replaced it with something better.
Okay.
Okay. So the idea of induction, or we won't even use the R word,
Okay.
right? I know because it's illegal. We were discussing in the 80s, the R at IIT was of a certain nature. In the 90s, it probably crossed the line.
Yeah.
Which then resulted appropriately in a set of regulations against doing R-related things on campus, as it should have. So there's always a fine line between when induction is healthy, or whatever we might call that initial interaction, to where it can be unhealthy. Now, the question you have to think about is, out of 360 incoming students, if we are creating an environment that 300 people are comfortable with, 40 people don't care, but 20 people are uncomfortable with,
True.
it's up to us as a leadership team to decide whether that is a calculation we are comfortable with. And I'm not. I'm not comfortable with 5% also of my class feeling ostracized or feeling that they're in a hostile environment.
Yeah.
And they might be extra sensitive. It's entirely possible that the seniors have done nothing to cross the line.
Yeah.
But if the perception on the receiving side, that's what matters, right?
True that.
Sometimes the youngest people are actually the most conservative people, which
Okay.
is surprising, right?
Okay.
Then suddenly they don't want to change things. And I feel that as a 60-year-old, I'm willing to change and challenge anything, right? Why is it some people hold on to new things? So it always surprises me. So, hamare first week, one of the students asked, we used to have some tradition or the other. So maybe something like induction
Okay.
or something else. And I said, you realize we had a few other traditions as well. We had a tradition that the gate closed at 12 o'clock at night. वो tradition हमने निकाल दिया, वापस लगाए क्या? We used to have a tradition about visitation.
हाँ.
वो निकाल दिया, वापस लगाए क्या?
तो अभी students can stay up to what time till out?
We have, the men's hostel is open.
It's open throughout?
No, not throughout, till midnight.
Okay.
And we expect guests, whoever they might be,
Okay.
to leave by midnight.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
तो चर्चा सर फॉर्म फिलिंग से बाहर जा चुकी है. Let me bring back SPJIMR FT rank 1 last year and doing everything right. Merit based, totally profile based selection. Do you think the legacy will grow bigger and bigger, because now I think nearly 40 years old approximately?
1984, yeah, 40 years old.
40 years
41,
old school.
right?
Do you also think it'll cross IIM Ahmedabad in all aspect? Average package तो neck to neck खड़े हैं.
So देखो, package is one part, right? I mean, we were discussing what you earn. I'll tell you, what you earn is not the worth or a mark of who you are, okay? And over your life career, there'll be ups and downs, but it'll all work out. For anybody who's seriously considering joining SPJIMR, you will have a materially good life. I think you can just, take that off the table. So rankings shouldn't be based purely on packages, in my opinion.
Okay.
But rankings are also based on a huge amount of tradition. For example, if you take a look at the business school rankings or any university rankings in the US, the traditional rankings will basically honor tradition to a large degree. Harvard will always be where it is at.
Harvard, yeah.
Now, do people take it very seriously if suddenly Duke University moves up from number 5 to number 1? Everybody sort of just laughs at it and says, I wonder how that happened.
Yeah.
Which is not to say Duke University is not a good university, but the fact is these long-term trends will be there. So I don't kill myself trying to figure out when is it that we will get past A, B, and C. To a large degree, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
To a large degree, A, B, and C are great schools. Right?
Do you think so? After meeting the alumni of SPJIMR, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, are they slightly different than other IIM ABC?
And it's a good question. I asked both our alumni and I asked recruiters. So I sort of said, give me one word, that would describe an SPJIMR alum. And, you can ask the same thing and say, what's the one word that would describe A, B, and C, and might those words be different, right? And that's a good exercise to have. The word people use, or the phrase people use most often with SPJIMR graduates is the word grounded. Such a lovely word. What does grounded mean? Grounded means knowing who you are, but being confident of who you are. Having your feet on the ground, being able to roll up your sleeves and say, no matter where I am, whichever DOCC, non-profit, गांव में छोड़ दिया,
कोई लद्दाख जा रहा है, कोई भोपाल जा रहा है, कोई पंजाब जा रहा है,
I can take care of it, right?
ग्वाटेमाला जा रहा है, तो इंटरनेशनल भी हो रहा है,
इंटरनेशनल भी हो रहा है, right? I can take care of it. I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm comfortable with those around me. The ability to be comfortable in your skin, the ability to be comfortable with those around you, the ability to be comfortable in your environment. This to me is what being grounded means, right? And a grounded person cares about others, not just about themselves. So all of these thoda intangible sound hota hai, but collectively, ask somebody, what is it that distinguishes a A, B or a C person? They'll probably use the word analytical.
Analytical,
but it'll probably be the same word they use for A, B and C.
True. Sir, 21-year-old के लिए एडवाइस दो, बिकॉज मेरा दिल करता है इनका ब्रेन ओपन करके दिमाग में डालूं कि ये वाला पीस वैल्यू एथिक्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बाद में पता चलेगा, बट कैसे समझ आएगा उसका? ठीक है.
You're more cynical about our 21-year-old audience than I am, boss. And there's so I think there's more. There's more to you. But if a 21-year-old, 21 thoda early, I agree with you. I think of myself.
30% of the batch आपका 21 है, हाँ?
Correct? नहीं, सही, right? 30% of the batch are freshers. But even these 21-year-olds, the freshers, if they looked at their lives, not in terms of themselves and what they did, but in terms of the impact they had. You're 21 years old and you're basically claiming, मैंने 100 बच्चों को पढ़ाए. There are 10 villages that only exist today because of me. मैंने क्या काम किया? मैंने इतना सेवा किया. किया होगा, but be authentic about it. But genuinely talk about what difference you may have made in other people's lives. Talk about tough decisions that you had to make, which again are not necessarily about you, right? Tough decisions you may have had to make on behalf of others. What guided you in this decision-making process? We're interested in knowing how you think. We're interested in knowing, to what extent do you combine your heart and your brain in your decision-making process. So, can this be hacked? Sure. 10% apna false negative ho sakta hai. False positives ho sakte hain, right? We select somebody and they really aren't right.
Yeah.
False negatives hote hain. We sometimes don't pick the people we should have picked, and that always breaks my heart because there's probably so many people out there who would have been wonderful at SPJIMR that somehow our process missed. But I do think that ye values and culture wala, we try and do our best to figure out that we are getting people who are a good fitment, not just with us, but with their classmates as well.
I read it somewhere. In the younger part of your life, you read a lot of quotes. And later part of your life, you get the meaning of the quotes. So all those values and ethics, even if we would have not been embraced that, but when it stucks into our head, or sitting through that Gita Shibir, does it happen to Gita Shibir anymore?
We have a version of it called Science of Spirituality, which is a very secular version of it. Yeah.
Okay. The first 3 days of SPJIMR, this is 2007-2008, no पढ़ाई लिखाई, गीता शिविर, एक स्वामी जी आएंगे और आपको वहाँ बिठाया जाएगा और सुनो भाई बैठ के. And Economic Times जो आर्टिकल आया था, how cool is it? Like what stuff we do?
हम वो नहीं करते हैं आजकल.
अच्छा. So Science of Spirituality different है sir?
हाँ. So Science of Spirituality में we are looking to see how does spirituality guide you as a person, how does it guide your decision making. Now spirituality is a bigger concept than religion, right? There are religious people can be spiritual, but there are also people who are not religious per se or not practicing from a religion point of view who can be extremely spiritual. So spirituality in my mind is about recognizing that we are part of a much larger fabric.
Awesome.
Ye fabric, it's up to you to decide how much you want to infuse religious elements into that fabric.
बहुत ही बढ़िया सर, बहुत ही बढ़िया. Tough question. SPJIN versus IIM Indore. Himadri sir is Himanshu Rai is my senior from IIM Indore. And ये question मुझे पूछते हो, तुम लोग पूछते हो, मेरे को answer ready है. Sir से पूछते हैं sir.
I think they're apples and oranges, boss. Right? So, look, I think the types of opportunities.
Which is better, sir? Come on, give me a.
Oh no, I'll give you a straight answer. Much as I like Himanshu and I bump into him often. I think we're better than IIM Indore. I mean, let's be honest about this, right? So and better because we're different. Okay, so Himanshu, sorry boss, right? I think we're better because we're different. We're different primarily because it's Mumbai. One could argue Indore is the cleanest city in India. ठीक है, but I don't know what that has to do with your MBA, right? Okay. So Bombay is a cool place. There's opportunities to connect with all kinds of people, thoughts, ideas. I think your growth as a person over 2 years is likely to be greater at SPJIMR in Mumbai than it is at IIM in Indore. So there is that. You know, what you do have in common with IIM Indore is I think their dean's a fairly cool guy too.
Yeah.
So therefore, you know, so on that we'll call it a tie. But I think in terms of location and content and so forth, I think we win hands down.
Superb. I did a tie with HUL last year.
Right.
They have a foundation school in which they come to us to select people much more before they get into business schools.
Okay.
Because they want to get the best. It's like day 0, day -1. There's like college शुरू होने के पहले day 300.
वो IIT preparation अभी 6th standard में चालू हो रहा है ना? हाँ, वैसे ही, हाँ.
So वैसे करें, corporations are coming to people like us and then do it. And I got the list. I didn't see SPJIMR Mumbai in the list. I was like, ये क्या है? SPJIMR तो डालो यार, मेरा स्कूल है, you know, being a proud alumni. And HUL is like हमारी कंपनी है. ऐसा है कि हमारी कंपनी, बहुत सारे alumni हैं. A lot of my batchmates. So they said, no, we don't want SPJIMR in the group. They sent me an email. And I called her up. I like, ऐसा क्यों है? She was like, यार, इतने हो चुके हैं ना SPJIMR के. We had a process of autumn till last year.
Right.
And I think 18 people were there and 12 got selected
probably,
and PPOs. And और PPO conversion SPJIMR का इंडिया का number 1 है.
Okay.
जहाँ गए तो लोग ले ही लेते हैं. And so we don't want SPJIMR. But I forced her कि if I'm doing a campaign, SPJIMR should be there. So the point to be made is corporations are loving it, but sir still वो CXO -1 तक पहुँचे हैं हम लोग, right? वो CXO level तक maybe it's a younger school, maybe 10 more years. Do you think? CXO
I think so. I look at sort of the number of people we have in a CXO. I wouldn't even say CXO -1 range, right? So Tata में देखो, and who's the one running Tata Motors, right?
Yeah.
Tata Electric and so forth. हमारे लोग हैं in all of these locations, right?
Girish Wag was there.
Correct, right?
He got a Best Lumen Award in 2015 when I was also there. So he was sitting next to me.
So we've had wonderful alumni who have done extremely well, right? Now, in some cases, they're part of a larger conglomerate, and therefore, you know, do you call that a CXO or a CXO -1? You know, who can tell, right? But we have done extremely well. I think they're pushing up against that last ceiling. So much as you say, within 10 years, I would expect to actually see many of those who are currently pushing against the ceiling to break through and get there.
That's so awesome. Lovely, sir. Any parting thoughts? I want your to be the last word. So whenever I was a part of the induction at SPJIMR, me and my other gang of friends, we were regular.
Right.
So one thing I should say is, तुम IIM अहमदाबाद का बंदा भी ना किसी को मिलोगे एलो बनाएगा, वो थोड़ा क्रिप मार सकता है कि ये नहीं ठीक था, वो नहीं ठीक था. जमनालाल बजाज, श्रीनी सर, एक्स डायरेक्टर, द गुड फ्रेंड, वहाँ भी क्रिप मार सकता है, यार ये नहीं था. SPJIMR alumni, down the line 5 years. कॉलेज में he'll make your life hell, क्रिप मार सकता है कि ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है,
हो सकता
ये
है.
अबुदिया क्या कर रहे हो, DOCC वो मार. कॉलेज के 5 साल के बाद, my challenge, you find a SPJIMR guy, he will always talk positive about the college and I'll always miss that. That's the reason the George sir, director XLY and all, यार तुम SPJ and XLY compare क्यों करते हो? मैं बोला यार sir, my school. So I've got full faith in this school for sure. एंड अगर आप अप्लाई कर रहे हो तो भाई दिल से अप्लाई करना. फॉर्म सिलेक्शन भाव बढ़ गए हैं अभी सर के और SPJIMR के, एंड सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस थोड़ा टफ तो हो गया. इट्स नॉट दैट ईजी फॉर श्योर. बट सर, योर वर्ड, द पार्टिंग थॉट्स टू माय 500,000 YouTube family.
Okay, to the 500,000 YouTube family. See, applying to an IIM is easy. You just have to check a box. To apply to SPJIMR, you have to think about it, right? And you have to think about whether it's worth that extra effort to fill in a whole new application, you know, and answer all those questions that sometimes seem pesky, and not use Gen AI, you know, as an assistant while answering those questions. Is it worth it? It is. Why? Because if you think of yourself as more than just a test score, more than I am 99.4 in the CAT, it's a good score. But there's more to you than that. Nobody is going to appreciate that more to you than SPJIMR will.
That's so nice.
And so therefore, you know, the more there is to you than a test score, the more we will appreciate it, the more you're likely to be a good fit with us. But then again, I will ask you, if you think you're not a fit with our values, if what we have talked about, you know, doesn't quite resonate with you, but simply you're looking at a CTC package and saying I should go there, that may not be the best decision for you or for us. All right? So if you feel you're a good fit, come on in. Together we'll succeed.
All right, boys and girls, so do it a like button for sure. मुझे comment करके बताइए अपना profile. Maybe I can help you in saving your 2,500 rupees if you guys are applying to the college or not. मैं overview दूंगा, सब नहीं बताऊंगा, but बाकी ਤੁਹਾਡੀ मर्जी यार apply करना है करो नहीं करना ना करो. It has changed my life. Sir, any parting thoughts you have for all my 500,000 YouTube family?
So Sumit, I want to thank you for actually providing a very valuable service. This whole selection process is a tough process. These are 20-year-olds under stress trying to figure out what to do, and any level of guidance and good guidance, I think, de-stresses them, hopefully guides them to make the right decision. So in that sense, the work that your organization have done is invaluable, and I think they should be thanking you for that, not necessarily for just giving them the latest information on how to get into some school
Thank you, sir.
or the other, right? Thank you so much.
Pleasure is all mine. Boys and girls, do the like button again. See you in the comment section. Take care. Sorry for the sun, sir. हमने धूप में पसीना सर ने ज़्यादा बहाया है because I'm still in the shade. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Sejal Sharma.
सौरदीप चौधरी. मेरा CAT percentile 99.20 था.
Watching your videos and I kept watching them, and the motivation and your energy was just too high that it gave me the motivation that I can do it.
I'm very grateful to you because आपके मैं सारे lectures बैठा हूँ.
CATKing का जो इंटरफेस है वो बहुत ही अच्छा है, एकदम CAT की तरफ.
क्या बात है?
Whenever I used to feel लो आपका मोटिवेशन देख लेती थी.
पापा मेरे से बड़े फैन है आप।
क्यों भाई?
क्योंकि जब मैं स्पीकर पे पढ़ता था या आपके वीडियो देखता था तो बोलते हैं यार ये बंदा ना पढ़ाते हो सब मोटिवेट करता है तुम्हें, वो हवा भरती रहनी चाहिए हमेशा गाड़ी में।
Thank you so much, sir. And I would again like to thank all of you, the CATKing family. It's been a great experience.
Hit the bell icon.